Company.
We are not giving up. We are not giving in.
We have a lot of important things to do here, but I can't think of very much that's more important than this.
This should not end, because if it ends, it means we are of faint heart and we are not willing to carry out our responsibility.
Those were some of the thoughts today after the Senate was unable to move forward on the immigration bill last night. Now some analytical observations from Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard, Mort Kondracki, executive editor of Roll Call, and Jeff Birnbaum, columnist of the Washington Post, Fox News contributors all. So the Senate couldn't find enough votes last night to move forward, and Senator Reid took the bill off the floor. Some people, as you heard there, obviously still think it's alive. Where are we in this process?
I think, I think that they're going to try to revive it, and I think there's a chance, I don't know, maybe 50-50 chance that it will get revived. Look, there are 60 to 65 senators who are prepared to vote for the bill on final passage. Both parties have an incentive to try to revive this and try to show that they can accomplish something. The Democrats, who have not got a great record so far of accomplishment in control of this Congress, want to get this done, or say that they want to get this done, and so this would be an opportunity to do it. The Republican Party, this is a divisive, festering, cancerous issue within the Republican Party. I mean, they go hammer and tong at it all the time. It's the #1 subject in their presidential debates and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of them want to get this off the board, and so they're gonna try to revisit it, and one hopes they can succeed.
Jeff?
There's a saying in Washington, and I think it applies here, that delay is defeat. And I think in this case, the chances of reviving this are very small. The delay here is probably fatal to the immigration bill. I'm not sure where Mort finds the 60 votes in favor of this, but it's hard to find that many among, I mean, there aren't that many Republicans, but I think only a minority of Republicans in the Senate are interested in this. It has been highly politicized, and it may be beyond getting enough support, especially in the president's own party. And so the president's efforts to revive this coming to the Hill next week, right. I think his pleas will fall on deaf ears, and he'll have to find some other way to provide himself a legacy in his second term.
Fred, I suspect one of the things the president will be saying is something that he will say tomorrow in his radio address, which is that the fear that people have, to address the fear people have, which is that, look, last time we went through immigration reform in the 80s, everybody promised stronger border enforcement, and the other things that people look back on as amnesty. The stronger border enforcement did not happen, but the amnesty part did, and that has been a fear expressed by a lot of people in this debate. Yeah, fine, you promise stronger border enforcement, but you won't do that part, and the other stuff will happen anyway. The president is promising he has learned the lessons of the past. Will that message take with Republicans on the Hill?
No. The bill's going to have to pass despite millions of Americans having fears that it will not be enforced, be another amnesty and not enforcement. And the president is doing the best he can. He can promise more money and more build-up along the border. And I think a lot of other things. I think it will be enforced, but it's hard to convince people of this. Look, here's where there's a majority, and I think Mort's entirely right. If you can get the bill to a final vote and get rid of this stuff that is blocking it now, the key vote on amendments was the David Vitter amendment. He's senator from Louisiana, to kill the Z visa. That's the thing that allows the illegal immigrants here to stay here. That's what all the conservatives hate. It got 26 Republican votes, and a 27th was for it. You add that to the Democrat support for it, and it could pass if Harry Reid, one person, Harry Reid, decides that it should come back.
Okay. Now, there was another major development today that was also chalked up to the divisiveness in Washington, and that is that Defense Secretary Robert Gates said he will get a new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff rather than ask Congress to confirm General Pace to another term as chairman, because he said that the confirmation hearing would be what he called a divisive ordeal. Let's listen.
Because of his experience over the last 6 years, the focus of the hearings would be backward-looking instead of forward-looking and contentious, just because of all the issues that we're familiar with.
All the issues we're familiar with.
Well, it starts with an R, and it's called Rumsfeld. Peter Pace stood by Don Rumsfeld's side for years and years, all during the build-up to the war, and basically defended him in public, and I guess did what he wanted Rumsfeld to do in private, and he was going to get, Pace was going to get pummeled by senators who were going to demand to know every last thing that Rumsfeld ordered when he was defense secretary, and that's what's backward looking.
So what? Look, wait a minute. Mort, I do know what Peter Pace has done in public. Mort seems to know what he said in private too. I don't. Oh, I thought you said you did. Well, I don't. I don't either. Look, it's ridiculous not to send up Peter Pace, who's a great American, a great patriot, an extremely articulate guy who can defend everything he and the Pentagon have done, and he'll tell us which ones he agreed with and which ones he didn't. I think it's a mistake. So what if it's a contentious hearing? They're all contentious now. Yeah. Why not send him back?
Well, and isn't it, whoever new person comes up may not be the same as General Pace, but that's likely to be contentious too, isn't it?
Yes, it's certainly going to be contentious. But the Mullen, the Admiral Mullen, who has been selected to replace Pace, will not have to defend every decision about Iraq. I think there's another word beginning with I that's involved here. Iraq. I think that's an even bigger one, as Pace would have had to. And Pace also made two, I think, pretty big mistakes when he called homosexuality immoral. Even though he apologized almost immediately afterwards for doing so.
And even though he said "Don't ask, don't tell" was okay. Was okay.
Yeah, and when he wrote a letter in praise of the professionalism of Scooter Libby to the judge in Scooter Libby's trial. Now, I think that was a mistake too.
Now, should that be a disqualifying factor, attesting to someone's character? Or
well, you know, there's an old saying around town and in politics that you never get in trouble for what you don't say. Yeah. And he said something on both of those very contentious issues that he might have been better off being silent about.
On the two of the most controversial
But Iraq was going to, and this is why Gates wants to talk about what we're going to do in Iraq in the future and how we're going to run the military establishment of the future, not revisit all the decisions that got made.
Rehash all that. Okay, up next.